Hi everyone. This morning, what I want to do is show you guys how to start the next project. So there's a file that you're going to need to download, and I don't know why I can't zoom out here. Let's try that. There we go. And basically, what it's going to have in it to get you started is a border like that, and then some directions at the bottom. So let's just quickly take a look at those. It says create a letter design that uses the concept of gestalt. That means parts making up a whole. In other words, you're gonna have lots of shapes that when you see that all together, it looks like something all together. And in this case, it's gonna look like a letter, and variety. So in other words, just like it says, it's repetition, but the shapes change and vary in some ways. So I made some shapes right here, and you can see I started adding some to the design. But before I did that, I took a letter and put it on the board, and it's pretty easy to do this. Just as a quick refresher, if you hit the type tool, right, and make sure you're working on a layer that actually is not locked, so, or visible. So I'll make a new layer, and I'll type out an R in this case. Okay, well, currently the character I'm using is phosphate. Just be careful about what you choose here. You probably don't want to go, I don't even think you have some of these characters to look at, but you probably don't want to use something that's too complex. I'm going to recommend for this assignment something, first of all, that's what we call sans serif, and also just something simple. So what I mean by sans serif, this type is sans serif, and I'll type out something else just to show you. So make another R, and I will choose a character that has a serif in it. And as soon as you see the difference, you're going to be like, okay, got it, silver. Here's prestige. And again, nothing wrong with prestige. It's just, okay, so prestige has what we call serifs. You see these little kind of things that hang off on the side. It's almost like a little caps on the letter. That's a serif font. I love serif fonts. They're very formal, but for what we're doing, it probably will get in your way of making this work. But what I'm going to do is take my letter, and I'm going to make it, and I can, as big or as small as I want, but I'm going to make it so that it's touching, at the very least, the top and bottom, or the sides. I probably don't want to do this, because when I do this, you see what happens is, let's assume this is the same color black. See how like the R kind of disappears over here? So I think I'm going to bring this in, but I'm definitely going to make sure that this is touching at the top and touching at the bottom. And I feel like I'm losing stuff. Like if I bring this over here, you kind of lose that. So that's fine. As long as it's touching there and there, that's totally okay. And then what I'm going to do is take this letter, and I'm going to reduce its opacity a lot and lock it. Okay, so I'm working with the letter R, and now I have all these shapes I've created, and let me get rid of this one. Oh, I can't get rid of this letter R. Goodbye, delete. So I started creating these shapes, and the idea behind this is that you want to create 5 different complex shapes that relate to each other in some way. So it's pretty obvious how they relate to each other. They're all, I guess, flowers or botanical in some way. And what I mean by complex is I don't want you just to create like a star. That's not a complex shape. That's a star. I don't hate stars or anything like that, but that's not complex. So what I've done with all these, if you look carefully at them, you can see that there are multiple shapes that have been created to do this. I'd say that every single one of these has combined 3 or 4 more shapes, or at least, like, if I took a shape, for example, like if I started with a star and I deleted, so when you grab the eraser tool, part of it like this, that's okay. I mean, it's not really particularly interesting, but that's, at least I've done something to that shape. I've manipulated that shape. I've made it complex. But I'd like you to combine shapes together. So for example, right here, I'm working on this leaf that I created. And I'll just start from the scratch really quickly, show you how quick and easy this is to do. So there's my ellipse, if you will. I'll make it black, no fill. And I'm going to go to my pen tool and convert the anchor point right here, make that pointed, and it's too perfect, so I'm going to, you know, manipulate it in some way and manipulate my anchor point. So already that's an irregular shape, but it's not enough. So I've created these points, and it's so easy to do this with a pen tool. Just click, right? Click, click, and then close it up, because it's got to be a shape for this to work, right? And then again, make another one here. Close it up. Click, click, click. I think you get the idea of where I'm going. So I'm creating a leaf like this with little sections on it. And I don't know how long that took me, but it wasn't really particularly hard. And then once I have this done, I'll make one more up here. I feel like it needs it just to balance it out, because there's such an, oh, whoopsie, I don't know why it's not. Okay, there we are. So then once I have this, if you remember correctly, as long as they're shapes, if you go to the shape builder tool, and I'm going to hit the option key and I get a minus, and I just click, and I can literally delete these areas, and all of a sudden my shape just got really complex, because now it's a combination of these things together. So that's pretty darn easy. You know, the flowers were done pretty much the same way. It's super, super easy, right? To, there's a circle, there's another circle, and I think you get where I'm going with this. But if I wanted to delete that, right, option minus, oopsie, edit undo, I don't know why. Oh, I think I forgot to select both of them. There we are. And then again, option minus, see? And I got that. Again, not complex enough in my opinion, but a start. But now I could create like a petal here. In fact, I could take this one. Ooh, this is a good idea. And rotate it. And there's a leaf or something. I don't know what this is. And I could just keep adding this to my design by repeating it like that, right? Or whatever. I don't really know what I'm doing, and give it some variation along the way, so it's not the exact same thing. Okay, I think you get the idea of what I mean by complex, I hope. All right, so complex shapes, variety. So I'm going to stop the video, and in the next one I'm just going to talk a little bit more about what to do with all this stuff to create order out of chaos. But that's a start. So 5 complex shapes that are different from each other, but all relate to each other. Using, you know, you can combine things, you can erase things, you can manipulate your paths. But again, you're not just going over here and you're just saying, okay, there's my complex shape. That's not a complex shape. All right? All right.